On this episode of the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino, college football insider Brett McMurphy joins us to talk about the announcement that the college football playoff will not be expanding until 2026. We give you the latest OU football updates and discuss the new trend in college football, the collective. We finish up giving you our winners and losers of the weekend. Please download and subscribe to the podcast, rate it 5 stars, and write us a good review. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search Oklahoma Breakdown on any of those, and you'll find us. All right. Our man Michael Hosty will kick this thing off. It's time for the Oklahoma Breakdown. It's a beautiful Monday, February 21st, and you're listening to the Oklahoma Breakdown with Ikard and Lehman, presented by Riverwind Casino. Riverwind is Oklahoma City's premier casino experience, and your health and safety are Riverwind's #1 priorities. There are so many reasons why Riverwind is consistently voted OKC's #1 casino, but it all starts with their amazing variety of gaming thrills and excitement. Riverwind's beautiful, award-winning environment plays host to more than 2,800 of the latest electronic games with a huge selection of table games, including blackjack, blackjack match, roulette, and Teddy's favorite, craps. No matter what your game, Riverwind has it in spades and hearts. And Fridays in February from 6 p.m. to midnight, you can win your share of $80,000 in cash and bonus play in Riverwind's $80,000 River of Romance giveaway. Drawings are every 30 minutes, and grand prize winners will be selected at 11:59. If you need help finding your way, just visit riverwind.com. Riverwind Casino, simply the best. Now we're recording this Sunday night. Please leave us a 5-star review and a nice comment while you are at it. Ted, how's my favorite local radio guy doing? You know I had to start with that. Come on, man.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just hoping the big boys will throw some scraps down to us so we can talk about something, you know? That's my daily routine. See what everyone else can lead me to. It's funny.
Are you all right? You good?
I'm good.
You've
good.
calmed down?
I've calmed down.
Okay, good. If you're confused about that, go check out Ted's Twitter at Ted Lehman 11. You can put some fun interactions for you during the week.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like I don't know. There's just everyone's got their take right now, and they really have nothing to back anything up with other than, well, I heard or something like that. I don't know. It's weird. You know, you would think if people would like an actual perspective or talk to people around the program that may have an idea of what the status is or what the future might look like, you think they may ask, but no, they just shoot from the hip and guess. That's the thing to do.
Yeah. It's interesting. Just wildly entertaining for me, though. Wildly entertaining. All right, let's talk some OU stuff. So wanted to start here. Had a conversation with one of the members of the coaching staff this weekend, and he said a couple of interesting things, but thought one thing in particular was very interesting. And we've talked a lot about how the fan base has been reinvigorated, right, over these last couple of months with the way that Lincoln Riley left, and then bringing in Brent Venables and the new energy that he's brought to the program. It's created this new passion and almost a new level of investment from the fan base. And one of the things that the coach I talked to this weekend brought up is that not only has it had that effect on the fan base, it's had a similar effect on the players. And that's really not something I hadn't really thought about it that way, because the coach I talked to said, kind of how the way that everything went down, clearly BV and his staff have quickly connected with this group, right? This group of players. But there's this unique blend of guys on the roster when you consider all the circumstances, and it's created this kind of hyper motivated and competitive culture of a bunch of guys with chips on their shoulders for different reasons. And as I was listening to this, I was like, I cannot wait to tell Ted about this because that may be the best thing he's ever heard.
Yeah, no, I think I think there's a ton of truth to that. Um, you know, even whenever, like, forget how Lincoln left and everything that's gone on since, but whenever there's a regime change and you're still on the team and there's a new staff coming in, there's a whole nother level of, because you get comfortable, right, with where you are, with kind of where you sit on a team, with you've developed some type of relationship with your position coach and your coordinator on your side of the ball. And whenever there's a whole new regime that comes in, there's a heightened sense of awareness all of a sudden, like, hey, I better get this thing rolling. I better make sure I'm ready to play, in great shape. Like, you're kind of reignited there. So that happens anyways. You mix in the rest of the things, transfer portal, um, teammates leaving. There's a whole blend of things going on up there that can have guys ready to get started. And but it's easy right now, right? That's the thing. It's easy to be super motivated and chomping at the bit right now in February, a couple of weeks in. Can you maintain that all the way through December? That's going to be the real challenge.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. But just hearing that now, I certainly like hearing that than hearing
Yeah.
the alternative, right? And when you think about it, when you think about it, like the different groups, if you kind of divide this roster into different groups, right? You've got the guys that were already on the roster, and you mentioned it. Coach V comes in. Of course, you want to make a great first impression, but also you've got this group of guys that kind of got left high and dry for the guy they came to play for.
Yeah.
And that that leaves you feeling some type of way. And you instantly get this chip on your shoulder going through that experience. Now, of course, you want to reach your full potential as a player, no matter what your circumstance is. But I feel like it's only natural for those guys to maybe feel a little extra motivated. Like, I think that's just human nature.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. It is. And you mentioned the fan base feeling reinvigorated. I think that feeds down into the players as well. They can see it. Um, they can see what's going on out there. The whole brew. Throw whatever piece you want in there, makes for a really really interesting football team. That also throw in the fact that they're not getting any credit, or any no one thinks they're going to be good in the upcoming year. Everyone's dismissing them as the reason they were good left town, right? Lincoln Riley and their quarterback. So there's a bunch of different angles you could take on it, but I love it, and I love that we're in that position. I really do.
I knew you would love it so much. And then, like, I do think with the transfer guys, especially, like, some of these guys have played a lot of football, right? You think of like a McCade Matauer who's started 3 years, right? But you've got that group of guys that, of course, they want to prove this staff right for bringing them in, right? That they're the type of guys that can be difference makers. And now they've been through college football, right? The workouts, the games, like the grind of a season. But you just think of a guy like Dylan Gabriel or a guy like Jeffrey Johnson. They also want to prove that they're pros. So now I feel like everyone that comes to OU, that's the goal, right? Go play in the National Football League. But especially if you're one of these guys, that came from UCF or came from Tulane, Daniel Parker, the tight end, like, these guys want to prove that they are pro prospects and that they can play in the next level. So that's just another layer in my mind of motivation. And then when you just look at the guys that are here right now, you've got the early enrollees, and you know how it is being a freshman. when you just get there, whether you're coming early or you're coming in the summer, it doesn't matter. It's all about making a first impression. It's mainly all about surviving, but you're going so hard trying to make a good first impression, not only on the staff, the strength staff, your teammates, the older guys. Like, you don't want to be the weak link. So I don't know, man. It's just after hearing that from one of the coaches, it just seems like this weird blend of guys that have come together and they're just hyper motivated. And it seems like it's created pretty much the ideal culture that Brent Venables is looking for.
Well, I think that's great. I think it's awesome. I think it's something they're going to build on. But how about this? I think it's the same thing on the coaching staff, right? It's the same thing on the coaching staff. You had Lincoln leave, and there was a group that was thrown before they knew it into a situation, or are we going to stay? Or are we going to go? Like, what's the play here? And this is an opportunity to prove something for themselves, right? That they're not just under the wing of Lincoln Riley, that this staff can go out and do some really good things. And I'm sure everyone there is just as motivated. And then you mix that in with a group coming in from elsewhere. I know Venables has been here before, but you take some guys that are, wanting to prove their worth at a blue blood program. I mean, I know that they're coming from Clemson, but it's still different. Oklahoma is a much bigger animal than Clemson is. So I think all of those things, coaching staff, players, new enrollees, transfers, first-time coaches or guys that used to be a part of the program as players that are now coming back in a different role, they're going to be really motivated to prove their worth, in their new role. So just all makes for a really exciting time.
Yeah. And then one last thing from that conversation I had, that I just didn't even know how to process this information. Like, I didn't even know how to respond. But you look at this mixture on the roster. It sounds like these guys are hungry to be the best they can be. But then something was said that I'm still not sure I've processed it fully, but said the players love Schmitty, not like love, and that Jerry Schmidt has evolved. Now, he's still getting the most out of the guys. Like, they're still suffering, but it sounds like the suffering comes with more of a loving message, which I thought, well, I still can't fully comprehend it, but it sounds like Schmitty is a little more, dare I say, positive? Dare I say supportive? Dare I say loving than maybe the man you and I knew. So that was, I'm still struggling with it, but he said they love him, Ted. What?
Well, you got to understand, there has to be a bit of a honeymoon phase. If you can't come in combative and just being all out 100% right out of the gate, you gotta lure the guys in close to you, right? Get them real close to you. That's whenever you drop the hammer. And I'm sure that's going to happen. There's a process to it. And whenever it's early on, you make sure that everyone gets loved up a little bit, and make sure that they, you have a little while to tell them exactly what it is that you're looking for. And then it's going to be, my guess, stronger and stronger demands out of the guys. So I guess it's not that big of a shock, but I still think that there's more to come, right? I think it's just we're in the break-in period right now, I feel like.
Okay. Yeah, listen, I was fired up to hear all that stuff. And then he said that, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Love him. Okay. But hey, listen, everyone evolves. And if it works, listen, all I care about is that these kids are tough and that they're big and fast and strong. That's all I care about. Because if you do those things, if you're tough and you're big and fast and strong, you're going to win a lot of football games with the talent that you bring in at Oklahoma. So it's all that matters. Hey, Schmitty's going about it a little differently. Yeah, but I got a feeling once that summer rolls around.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, they're not starting spring ball till after spring break. They got a long winter, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good because I thought it was a bit of a late start the way they got going, and understandably so. But yeah, that's going to be something. That's good. I'm happy about that. Yeah, I don't know, what is it? Is it supposed to be like July 1st? Is that the last day that you can transfer and still be on unless there's some type of um, special circumstance?
Exemption.
Yeah. I feel like whenever that day hits, that's whenever, boom, the hammer drops.
Yeah. Like, here we go, brother.
We've locked you in. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. But hey, we'll here we go, boys. Like, I can just see it now. But yeah, I just thought that was so interesting, man. I couldn't believe it. All right, so there's a new thing I would say that is popping up around college football, and we'll talk about it. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 560 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including my favorite, Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to-go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see that red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com. And congratulations, Michael McDowell, 7th place finish at the Daytona 500 in the Love's 34. He won it last year, so first last year, 7th this year. Pretty good back-to-back finishing for the old Love's 34. Just saying.
Not bad at all. Opolis Clothing, this group works really, really fast. They saw everyone's request for the "It Ain't Good Enough" shirt, and they made it happen. It ain't good enough, which was the best thing come across the Twitter timeline. Oh, yeah, I like it. There you go. I'm sure that one's buttery soft, right?
Absolutely.
It's available now. Go to opolisclothing.com. That's OPOLIS clothing.com and use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. Don't forget to buy one of our St. Patrick's Day shirts as well. There you see both of them. You got the 4-leaf clover and then the just the traditional Oklahoma breakdown. Those are time sensitive, we should say.
Got to order them by March 3rd.
Yeah, you got to get it in by March 3rd. Still get your discount on all the OU and Oklahoma City Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com. Use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
Okay. So the new name, image, and likeness rules have led to what people are calling collectives. So if you're not familiar, a collective is essentially a group of alumni or fans that pool money from various donors of all different amounts and then distribute that money in some form or fashion to student athletes for doing things like appearances, autograph signings, like those types of things. And David Ubben, which is a name that a lot of people around here will recognize, wrote an article for The Athletic, very interesting article about a collective that supports Tennessee, the University of Tennessee. This company, it's called Spire Sports, and their goal is to raise $25 million a year. which seems unsustainable. But if you read the article, it's like in the SEC, like a $10 million collective is gonna become pretty much the norm. And you dive into this article, and the Spire Sports guys, they're getting guys 6-figure NIL deals, and then taking that information about what the current players at Tennessee are making, and then they are using that to present to recruits trying to get them to go to Tennessee, which is, I guess, technically not against the rules. Like, it's not NIL. It's not supposed to be used as a recruiting inducement. And I know the D1 Council just came out and said they're going to review how NIL policies have affected athletes' school choices and how it's affecting transferring and academics. And I think they even threw mental health in there. And not to downplay mental health, very important. But I find this fascinating, Ted. I feel like I'm going to get into the collective game, some form or fashion. I feel called to help my alma mater, because if Tennessee's raising $25 million to dish out to guys, like, I don't know. I saw that figure and I was like, we got to do something now, man. Like, yeah. I don't know. It was eye-opening for me reading that article from Ubben. I mean, that was, whoa.
Yeah. No, that's a big chunk of money. Now, I'm just fascinated to see, like, are they really using $25 million a year in NIL deals with their players? Like, what I feel like it is a way to collect a massive amount of money. 25 million, you don't just have it sitting in a bank account, right? You're going to have it working for you. You're going to be making money off of it.
Crypto.
Like, who knows what happens to the money that you're making off the $25 million fund? Like, who's running it? How much are they paying themselves? Like, I don't know. I feel like this is another way to make money off of this thing. And then, yeah, they're going to be throwing some in NIL deals to players, but I don't know. The whole thing is just a total mess. But it's the new way of doing business in big time college football. So Oklahoma's going to have to get in on the act. That's just how it is.
I think I'm serious about, like, helping in some way, right? I know some people around here, and just because the way I look at it is someone's got to do something, right? Because if Tennessee is doing this now, I do not think that amount of money is sustainable. I just don't. I just find it hard to believe that people,
because you're also trying to get donations from the same type of people, like the OU fans, for other things that are going on athletically, like softball field and baseball facilities, and you got an arena going possibly with the basketball teams, and the football teams wanting to do facility upgrades. So you're hitting a lot of these same people for all of those things as well. It just seems, I don't know.
So in my mind, like, and I thought about this in the shower a little bit, because shower thoughts, where I was like,
best
man,
thinking. Yep.
Because it seems like OU's got to do something. And remember, the school, they can't be directly involved, but when you think about how the Oklahoma law reads, which I went ahead and took a gander at the NIL law here in the state of Oklahoma, it's rather vague. Let's just say, like, and some people at the university help write the law. So in my mind, the OU way of doing this would be you work closely, you consult OU's leadership, like the administration, Joe Castiglione, whoever would feel comfortable in, having that discussion. But you can't, like, operate in the gray, where I feel like some of these collectives are operating. Like, it would need to be kind of black and white. And I think that, I think I'm going to look into it. I really do, because like if you could just put on a couple of events a year and make it very clear in your marketing that, hey, this is to support these guys, like some appearance fees for some of the players. I don't know how many, but I I think OU fans, like, they want to help in any way they can. And you could find out, or you could figure out some creative ways to let people maybe that can't give huge amounts to feel like they're helping out. Like, because I know this, I don't want OU to be bad at football. I know that. And going to the SEC, and I know it may feel a little farther off than it did a couple months ago, right? But the last thing I want is for OU football not to be good. And I don't want this to be the reason that OU isn't getting top tier talent. Like I've talked about this a lot, but Oklahoma football is one of the most important things in my life.
Yeah.
It means that much to me. So, dude, I'm hitting the research this week. I'm taking a look. I'm asking questions. Maybe forming an LLC. I don't know, man, but this is just the new reality of college football. And the way I see it, we can't let OU fall behind. Do it the right way. Do it to where, you're doing stuff for the best interest of the players. Of course, you got to make a little money doing it, or else it's not worth your time. But if you can get everyone on the same page, like, I don't know. I just feel like we got to do something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's what it's going to take to be competitive. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
You already have like 7 jobs though. So maybe I'll see if Dusty wants to do it. I'll send Dusty a text. I don't know if your wife would kill me if I tried to get you into doing one more thing. Okay. Birthday shout outs time.
Woo, it's a big list.
Remember when I was like, man, it's light last episode? The people were like, oh, okay. Happy first birthday to Inslee Calvert. All right.
Happy birthday, Inslee.
Happy belated 8th birthday to Henson Kendall.
Happy birthday, Henson.
Happy 9th birthday to Miles and Henry Terrell.
Happy birthday, Miles and Henry.
Twins. Nice. Happy 11th birthday to Jaden Ross.
Happy birthday, Jaden.
Happy 21st birthday to Logan Harper.
Happy birthday, Logan. Be smart.
Happy 23rd birthday to Tyler Jacob Rodman.
What a name. Happy birthday, Tyler Jacob Rodman.
Happy 27th birthday to Braden Harris.
Happy birthday, Braden.
Happy 29th birthday for the 30th time to Janet Davis.
Happy birthday, Janet.
Happy 38th birthday to Andy Asbury.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy 40th birthday to Chelsea Ketcher.
Happy birthday, Chelsea.
Happy 53rd birthday to Joshua Peck.
Happy birthday, Joshua.
Happy 65th birthday to Diane Rowland.
Happy birthday, Diane.
Happy birthday to the mother-daughter duo of Marley and Udy Bosley.
Happy birthday, Marley and Udy. Is
Udy?
that yeah.
It's got to be Udy, right? It's a sweet name. I don't think I've ever seen that name.
I like it.
Happy birthday to Jim and Tracy Kaltenbacher. Oh, what a name.
Happy birthday, Jim and Tracy.
Happy birthday to the OU football historian himself, Mike Brooks.
Mike Brooks, fantastic guy. Happy birthday, Mike.
Happy birthday to Stephen Garrett.
Happy birthday, Stephen.
Happy birthday to Selena Slayton, and also happy anniversary. Big week for Selena.
B-Day and anniversary. Congratulations, Selena.
And last but not least, happy 25th anniversary to Chad and Leslie Huddleston.
Happy anniversary, Chad and Leslie. Amazing.
Okay, the biggest news in college football. College football playoffs not expanding until 2026. They couldn't figure it out. So we brought our man Brett McMurphy in to explain why. But first, do you own a business? If you do, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers, They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. Insurica's clients become best-in-class businesses by working with Insurica's team of advisors to manage risk. Purchasing insurance is only one way to protect your business. Best-in-class businesses win by avoiding a loss in the first place. Duh. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. I'm an Insurica client, and you should be too. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
All right, guys, spring is right around the corner, and I know that because today was winter in the morning and spring in the afternoon. That means spring is getting close, but it doesn't matter because it's always hard seltzer season. There's only one hard seltzer that we drink on this podcast, and that is Sonic Hard Seltzer from Coop Ale Works. It's perfect for any occasion. We drink in the hot tub, by the fire, and at the tailgate. You can
Gotta change that part. Gotta change that part. That's on me.
Well, hot tub is year-round. Fire.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah, we'll look at changing it. You can buy 12 packs of the iconic Sonic drive-in flavors like cherry limeade and ocean water, or you can grab a citrus variety pack or a tropical variety pack. Find it at your local grocery, convenience, and liquor stores.
All right. Maybe Brett McMurphy will make us feel better about the college football playoff not expanding, or maybe he won't, but here he is. It is our pleasure to be joined by a man that is the college football insider for the Action Network. He also happens to be an Oklahoma State alum, but that's fine. It's fine. He is Brett McMurphy. Brett, what's going on, man?
My sister's an OU grad, so if we can continue the conversation by giving that info, I'd love it.
That is
perfect.
Yeah, that's important information that we definitely needed to know. Okay, you've been following this for a long time, but after lots and lots of meetings between the leaders in college football, the college football playoff is not expanding, or at least not expanding until 2026. And I guess my question to start things off, Brett, is why not?
Let's see. 11 responsible adults could not come to a conclusion that all 11 responsible adults believe is the right thing to do, and that is expand the playoffs. And there are various reasons for that. Part of that is because the SEC expanding. Part of that is you have new commissioners. But it basically boils down to, they have become divided. The 11 folks I'm talking about, the 10 commissioners plus Notre Dame AD Jack Swarbrick. In the past, when there were disagreements between the commissioners, going back when Jim Delaney and Mike Slive were head of the Big Ten and the SEC, they would work things out. Everybody wouldn't get what they wanted, but ultimately they would come to a conclusion that would be, for the most part, in the best interest of college football. We're at a point now where everybody, and I understand why, they're doing what's best for their conference. If you're commissioner of the MAC, you're doing what's best for the MAC. If you're commissioner of the SEC or the Big 12, you're doing what's best for those conferences. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the president hired you to do. However, regarding the college football playoff, I'd say that, 90%, 95%, maybe that's low. People involved in college athletics believe the playoff should be expanded. We can debate whether it should be 8, 12. Heck, Mike Leach wants 64 teams, maybe one day. With that being said, they can't come to an agreement on how to do that. And now we have to wait another 4 years with this 14 playoff to finish out. And then there's no guarantee they're going to come to an agreement when that contract expires on what the new playoff would look like. So I may have went a little bit longer than you wanted, but it's to make it as simple as possible. 11 very smart people cannot come to an agreement on something that everybody agrees needs to happen. And as a college football fan, as a reporter, it sucks. And I could use a lot of other words, but we'll keep this family friendly, but it sucks. And it's a joke. It's a disgrace that this has happened, but hey, that's college football.
The one thing I've wanted to know throughout this is, what are the network's role in the expansion talk? Because obviously, ESPN has total control over under the current contract. Now, if they play this contract all the way out and bring it up to bid, I mean, there's been talk about some other networks wanting to be able to get in and be a part of it if it does expand and be able to broadcast some of those games. Have you heard if ESPN is okay with that, or are they pressuring to get this thing done and expanded to where they'll still have exclusive rights? How has that whole thing been working out?
Yeah, I don't think the issue is they haven't even got to that point yet. That's what's, I think, so frustrating for everyone that wants this to happen is, look, if there's a 12-year contract, we have 4 years left of a 14 playoff. If you decide before the 12-year contract is up that you want to extend it, renew it, tweak it, change it, then you have to have an 11-0 unanimous vote by everyone involved to do that. So, and then part of that is ESPN then would be able to have, I guess, exclusive negotiating rights on whatever that new format is. If you want to run the new deal out 12 more years, 2 years, 6 years, whatever. However, Ralph Russo of AP and other reporters have mentioned that if they did decide to do that, which obviously they shut the door on that ESPN would be open to letting multiple networks be part of the bidding process if a playoff started before this current 12-year deal was up. So yeah, they haven't even got to that point. And the other frustrating thing is the many consultants that work for the different conferences have estimated that a 12-team playoff would bring in an additional $450 million in additional revenue. That's the difference financially between a 14 playoff and a 12-team playoff. And for once, which is shocking in college football, money did not matter. Money did not rule the day, because if so, you would have thought they would have got something done just thinking about how much more money they would make with a 12-team playoff. But so now with contract going the full 12 years done, so then when they decide what they're going to do in the new format, whether it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, whatever, that will be open to bidding of any media outlet, ESPN, Fox, Amazon, Netflix, your guys' podcast, whoever will all be available to bid for that, and they'll go to the highest bidder. So basically, that will be a big change. But again, from what Ralph Russo and others have reported, ESPN was willing to let others be involved in the bidding process, even if they interrupted the contract. So basically, ESPN would have said, okay, we'll give away our exclusive negotiating rights so we can have a bigger playoff moving forward. But again, we never got to that point to see exactly what would have happened.
Brett, so you mentioned that they essentially leave $450 million on the table, where ESPN would have allowed other networks to come in and bid on maybe expanding this thing under the current contract. Help me understand why, and according to a bunch of different reporters, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the ACC, the Alliance, were the ones that voted against it. Help me understand why they would do that when they could have brought in that amount of money. I'm confused.
I am too. I can tell you, I can tell you the reasoning. Whether you agree with it or not, that's up to you. The reasoning for the ACC is they felt like that there's too many questions going on in the current landscape of college athletics regarding the future of the NCAA, name, image, and likeness. Also, they had an issue with player safety. by going to a 12-team playoff. Some teams may play additional games compared with now. They claim that their players were not in favor of that. That was their stance. The Big Ten, they wanted the conference champs to get automatic bids in a 12-team format, and then the highest ranked group of 5 conference champ would get a automatic bid, and the remaining 6 bids would go to the highest sixth ranked at large teams. Basically, everyone else except for the ACC and the Pac-12, they're a whole nother category. I'll explain that in a second. But basically, everyone else wanted not the Power 5 conference champs to get an automatic bid, but the top 6 highest ranked conference champs each year to get an automatic bid. 99% of the time, that's going to be the Power 5 champs included in that top 6 conference champions. Now, a couple of years ago, if we would add a 12-team playoff in that format, Oregon was 24th or 25th, and Cincinnati and of the American and Coastal Carolina of the Sun Belt had higher ranked conference champs. So if that model was in place back then the Pac-12 would not have got an automatic bid. They wouldn't have gotten a playoff because they would have had nobody ranked high enough to get in a large bid either. The issue with allowing Power 5 conference champs automatic bids is a case of if you've got a number 25 Oregon, why should they be in a 12-team playoff just because they want a Power 5 conference if they're only ranked 25th? But again, you needed a unanimous vote to do that. So that was the Big Ten told them. The Pac-12 is, I don't know what they're doing. They put out a release that basically said there were 6 formats that had been discussed: an 8-team playoff, the 12-team playoffs, Power 5 getting automatic bids, Power 5's not getting automatic bids. They said they agreed with all of them. They were not opposed to any of them. However, when the presidents voted, last week, a few days ago, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and the ACC all voted against the 12-team format. So the Pac-12 put out a statement a couple of weeks ago, and said they were in favor of all of these different formats. Yet when the presidents voted on it, the College Football Playoff Management Committee, made up of a president representing all 10 conferences in Notre Dame, the Pac-12 voted against it. So to be very honest, I don't know what the hell the Pac-12 is doing. They usually do what the Big Ten says. So I guess here's another example. So the Pac-12 is talking out of both sides of their mouth. Those are the reasons. You can decide whether to agree or disagree, who's right or wrong. Bottom line is there's not a right or wrong answer in this. But you would think that these people could come up with an agreement that would work for everybody, but they can't do it. And so what's going to happen now in the future? Well, here's one thing. There's no guarantee that we'll have a playoff in the future because this 12-year deal ends in 4 years. So what happens after that? If there's no new playoff that has been agreed upon by everyone, then there's no playoff. So the biggest question I have, and a lot of people throughout college athletics, is what is going to change now that's going to be different in 2-3 years from now when they have to come to an agreement on what the new format will be. Is the ACC suddenly going to change their mind? Is the Pac-12? Is the Big Ten? It appears doubtful. They've been talking about this model for the past several months, and they could not come to an agreement. Greg Sankey has come out publicly and said, look, guys, when the idea of a 12-team playoff first came up, the SEC was against it. But there were several ADs and presidents within the SEC that was not for a 12-team format. And you can see why. The SEC's done pretty well with the 14 format. They have a team in every year. They have 2 teams in every third or fourth year. They've obviously won the majority of champions have come from the SEC. So Greg Sankey said, look, guys, we decided we would be in favor of the 12-team model because we think that's what's best for everybody overall. But Sankey said, you know what? when we start talking about a new playoff format when the current one expires, don't assume that we're going to be okay with the 12-team format how it is now. We may change our thinking because, oh, by the way, OU and Texas are coming on board, and they may want to stay at 4. They may want to go to 8. They may want 2. Who knows? The SEC, I don't think this will ever happen, but the SEC and Big Ten is powerful enough where they could just get together and say, hey, let's just have a playoff between the 4 highest ranked teams from the SEC and the Big Ten, and that'll be a national championship. And everyone would, they would have their different opinions on it, mock it, whatever. But bottom line is you're probably going to get the best team in the country coming out of the SEC or the Big Ten. That's how powerful those 2 leagues are. I don't think that's what they would prefer. But going forward, that's a very real possibility. And one last thing, the ironic thing with not getting this 12-team format done is the 3 conferences that voted against it, other than the Big Ten, are the ones that would have benefited the most from it. The Pac-12 has been in the fewest number of playoffs of all the Power 5 leagues. The ACC obviously had some success with Clemson. Florida State went in the first year, but they've kind of been an afterthought. And here with the 12-team playoff, they're going to be involved in it. Now with the 14 playoff, there's no guarantee. So it's just, again, it's frustrating. You can tell how frustrated I am, and I'm not even involved in the in the voting or structure of all this stuff. I mean, and another part is I think, obviously you guys are OU ties. I do believe very strongly, and have people tell me this, fact that OU and Texas happened before the 12-team playoff was officially done, that caused a lot of issues with the Big Ten, with the ACC and the Pac-12, and the Big 12. But you know what? The Big 12 has put all that aside and said we're in favor of a 12-team playoff. I'm not sure if those other leagues have still put that aside, and I think they still hold that against the SEC. And you couple that with the fact that those leagues all have fairly new commissioners, and so that's why now we're stuck at a big cluster.
Well, that builds right into the question I had ready to fire your way. Is there's been this conspiracy theory floating around that the reason the Pac-12, ACC, and Big Ten are voting against the conference expansion is because there's this thought that if you go to a 12-team playoff and you don't do the automatic qualifier, well, then what's to stop the SEC from just acquiring all of the top schools in the country? Because they're starting to get there that way anyways. If you're going to a massive 12-team expansion where you don't have the automatic qualifier, what's to stop the SEC from go ahead and grabbing Florida State and Clemson, or Notre Dame and Ohio State, bringing all these teams in just to have their own conference? And is there any truth to any of that? Have you heard any of that? And that's why these teams are these conferences rather are voting against it?
I mean, maybe some fan bases may think that. I don't think anyone that has any power within college athletics really believes that. Now, that's not saying that may not be the case several years down the road, but look, the Big Ten is going to get a new media rights deal in the next couple of years. They're probably going to bypass what the SEC's making. Mm-hmm. I'm sure multiple networks will win rights to the Big Ten. CBS, which is losing to ESPN, wants to stay involved with college football. You could argue the Big Ten, although not as successful on the field, has bigger markets, bigger fan bases than the SEC. So the CBS is going to throw a ton of money at the Big Ten. The Big Ten will actually make more money than the SEC. As far as the SEC going to grab Clemson, Florida State, or Notre Dame, the ACC's media rights is through 2034. So we still have 13 years left. So what that means is if a school would leave the ACC, we'll say they would leave next year. For the next 10 years, all of their home media right TV revenue would stay with the ACC. So it wouldn't, financially, it would not make sense for anybody to leave, even to go to the SEC or go to the Big Ten. Financially, it wouldn't make sense. Now, when we get, 3 or 4 years out from 2034, is that possible? Absolutely. But right now, no way. It's not going to happen. And the other thing is, with Texas and OU, the funny thing is, all of the conferences that, are crying and belly aching about it happening, they all would have taken OU and Texas in a heartbeat. The ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12. Heck, the Pac-12 already tried it once. They all would have taken OU and Texas if they would have joined. Heck, the Big Ten, if Notre Dame called them and said, "Look, we don't care about the grant rights with the ACC. We want to come to the Big Ten." The Big Ten would do it in a heartbeat. They would literally, I'd say they burn the contract of the alliance in a fire, but they actually have no written contract. So I guess there's nothing to deal with there. But it's just so hypocritical that a lot of things that these conferences say as far as the alliance and doing what's right for the good of college football, it's hogwash. Because if they had the chance to add OU and Texas, they all would have done it. If Notre Dame could lead the ACC right now and join the Pac-12, join the Big Ten, join the Big 12, all of those conferences would say absolutely yes. But to your original question, yeah, the any schools leaving the ACC, that's not going to happen for at least 10 years. Could that happen down the road? Absolutely. Who knows what we have then? We could have 4 16-team super conferences. We could have 3 24-team super conferences. We could have a NFL type model with 30 to 40 teams playing under kind of the same umbrella, divided up in the different divisions or conferences or whatever they call them. So that's something I think you're on to, but I think that's still, a good 10 years down the road. Could it happen? Absolutely, yes. In the near future, it's very, very doubtful.
Brett, Mike Oresco's been very outspoken over these last couple of months, but with this not getting done, with expansion not getting done now, should the group of 5 be worried that maybe when it comes around in 2026 that they could just get phased out entirely? Is that something you think that could happen, that it could just be a Power 5 playoff and they just leave all those schools behind?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything's possible. I don't think. I think if you gave the commissioners truth serum, I really don't think they don't want the group of 5 to be part of a playoff, but they're not going to pay them as much. They're not going to get as much revenue from the college football playoff as the Power 5 leagues because they're not worth as much. TV ratings, ticket sales, et cetera, and they currently don't. So whatever the new contract is, if the Power 5 will decide, make a recommendation how it will be split up, and the group of 5 is going to get a big chunk less than the Power 5. And if the group of 5 won't go along with it and say, wait, we deserve more, Cincinnati made the playoff and this or that, the Power 5 will say, either you're in or you're not. You can go do your own playoff. So I don't think they would put the screws to them to exclude him, but certainly I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to give him a great deal. They're not going to overpay for those leagues. And to kind of put it in perspective, and look, I'm afraid we're going to get to that point where the Power 5 splits from the non-Power 5. And I understand that it's changed now with they call them the Autonomy 5, where they kind of make the rules that pertain to them. And because in the past you had, the University of Alabama had to operate under the same rules as San Jose State. No offense to San Jose State, but those are two different animals. And so you're limiting what Alabama could do as far as size of their staff, different things that would basically, handcuff them because not everybody could afford it. Well, we're past that now. But for instance, the SEC revenue numbers they put out last week, each school received about 55 million for the last fiscal year. The Conference USA schools, $1 million a year school. Now, and think about that. That's crazy. Now look, Saturday, anything can happen. Anybody can beat anybody. But there is no way on the face of this earth that any school or business that's receiving $50 million less than your competition is going to be able to compete against that other business or school 365 days a year. So I think because of that, and look, this is not going to, the group of five is not going to narrow the gap. The gap's only going to get bigger and bigger. And I do think because of that is one reason that we may see them split apart. And, Nick Saban has been very vocal about this. He wants his schedule. He wants to play Power 5 only opponents. He wants it like the NFL. So you don't have to go 12-1 or 13-0 in the SEC to make the playoff. He's fine with playing all Power 5 schools like the NFL. And if you go 9-3 or 8-4, it's based on the strength of your team, power ratings, however they would do it, and you're not penalized. You're not being compared against 13-0 Cincinnati, who played 2 ranked teams, against Alabama, who played 6 or 7. But people are saying, well, Cincinnati needs to be in the playoff over. I know Alabama won the SEC, but if they wouldn't have, they need to be in the playoff because they went undefeated. Well, yeah, they went undefeated. They only played 2 ranked teams. And so I think part of a combination of those reasons are why the Power 5, I believe, somehow will split from the Group 5. And look, I know it sounds like I'm pounding the Power 5's drum right now. I don't like it. I don't think it's good for college athletics. I think college athletics is going to end up being like the NFL, and I don't like that. But I'm afraid that's where we're headed. And conference realignment with Nebraska going to the Big Ten and, all the other dominoes that followed, I think that's unfortunately what we're headed towards. The question is now, when are we going to get there? Is it in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years? But it's kind of like, I know you guys, aren't that old, but I know you guys probably remember we used to have the WAC conference. I mean, the Conference USA could be gone in a couple of years. Who knows? Look, they're not going to win a national championship. Probably never. Not probably, but they won't. But I don't think that's good to just these conferences just totally going away. But that's kind of the result of kind of what all is going on with college athletics. And like I said, the gap's only going to get bigger between these power schools and non-power schools.
Well, I personally believe that the Group of 5 are dumb for not having their own playoff and doing it the right way, doing it like a legitimate playoff, and they would make a lot of money off of that. I think there's some really good teams there. I think it would be a great product, and I think a lot of people would watch it. Instead, they're happy to just be drug along with the big boys just so they can get a couple of scraps handed out every now and then. I personally think that's a ridiculous business model. No one's ever going to win anything. You're just kind of there. But
you know what? I actually a few years ago I actually wrote. I believe I think it was before I got to ESPN. I was at CBS Sports, so it's probably been 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 years ago. I actually did some reporting on that, and there were some people within the Group 5 that wanted their own playoff.
They should.
But
Right now, all they are is a bunch
Yeah,
of glorified practice dummies. They can't do anything.
it's like the NIT tournament and the NCAA. You're absolutely right. The problem is, privately, they would tell me that. Nobody would go on the record, because when you do that, you're admitting you're not as good as the Power Five. But you don't want to admit that. It would kill recruiting, supposedly. It would kill fan interest, a number of other things, to basically admit you weren't on the same level. I do believe Group 5 can beat Power 5 teams on any given weekend, but I don't believe that a Group 5 can compete with that same playing a Power 5 school every week and have the same amount of success. The thing is, to Power in the well, if you do that, if you force the Group 5 out of the playoff, there's going to be a lawsuit. They're going to get called before Congress, et cetera, et cetera. The money's a big difference. I had Power 5 ADs tell me that if the Group of 5 approached them about wanting to do their own playoff, in other words, it's one thing if they come to the Power 5 and say, hey, you know what, guys, we want to do our own playoff. That's totally different than the Power 5 saying, you know what, you're not going to be part of our playoff. The Power 5 ADs told me that they were pretty confident that the Power 5 would actually pay the Group of 5 not to be a part of their playoff. It would make it financially worth their while, part of the playoff, and to figure out how to do that. But again, nobody within the Group of 5 will admit to that publicly. And a perfect example, and I just thought of this, I really like this guy, so I'm not picking on him. But Danny White, when he was at UCF, whenever he would talk about scheduling non-conference games, he says, well, we deserve a home and home. We're going to do a home with Power 5s. We're going to do home and home. Whoever we play, it's home and home, whether it's a Group 5 or a Power 5. Well, he didn't have a lot of luck getting Power 5 home and homes because of obviously the disparity between the Power 5 and the Group 5. Danny White's now the AD at Tennessee. How many home and homes is Tennessee doing with Group 5s? I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I think it's none. Why? Well, it's different now. He's now part of the Power 5. So his mindset has changed. But I agree with you. I think they should have their own playoffs. I think there should be some kind of way, and you could set it up this way, where if you have a team like Cincinnati that is voted amongst the top 4 teams overall, then they would get a bid to the big boy playoff, if you will. And if nobody qualifies for that, then they just have their own playoff. I think it would be big television wise. Like you said, you could incorporate the bowl games. You could do a number of different things, play it on campus, whatever you wanted to do. The problem is it's not going to happen until the Power 5 officially splits from the Group 5. Then I think you'll finally see it happen. But unfortunately, I don't think you'll see them do that on their own, just because of, all the reasons we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was going to say is, and tell me if you think I'm wrong on this, when there's $450 million to be made and nobody has to do anything extra to get it, it's going to happen. Like, is this just not some serious posturing here? Is that not what we're witnessing? I've never seen a negotiation before where there's $500 million. Nobody has to do anything extra. No one. They don't have to do anything. You don't have to work more hours. You don't have to put anything of your own on the table. We all just say yes and split the $500 million. Like, that never gets shut down, right?
It did this time. The college football came out Friday and said, we are not expanding for the remainder of the contract. And look, they can always come back and say, hey, last minute we figured this out. But they have said there will be no expansion. The 12-year contract will run its course as a 14 playoff. This year is year 9. We'll have 4 more years, including this year, and then we'll figure out what to do next. So they have said it's done, it's over with. We're moving on, trying to figure out what we're going to do in 2026. Because the only way it can change is if all the conferences that don't want the Power 5 automatic bids would have to change their mind, which ain't happening, or the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 would have to change their mind, which they've given no indication that that's going to happen either. You make a great point. There would be an additional two games for teams that made it to the final, or if a team that didn't get a first round bye ran the table, they would have a couple extra games. But there's already been talk about possibly changing some of the rules, game rules. So, you don't stop a clock on an incomplete pass, or you keep the clock running on first downs, or different. So there's fewer plays in games. So that would kind of shrink the number of plays, each player would experience through a year. So they're kind of working on ways to tweak that because of an expanded schedule. But yeah, you're right. It's mind boggling. Here's, $450 million, and all you have to do is agree on this, which everyone says they want to expand. They just can't come to an agreement on how that format will be. And so, yeah, we're stuck with 4 teams. And the funny thing is, look, a 12-team playoff would be great because when we get to October, and like the number of playoff teams has been reduced from, it probably starts at 10. Before the season, you can pick 10 teams and say, okay, here's your playoff field. Maybe there's an outlier like Michigan this year, came out of nowhere. They weren't ranked in the preseason. But for the most part, you know who they are. By the time we get to October, we're down to like 6, maybe 8 teams. If you've got a 12-team playoff, we're going into mid-November, and you're going to have more than 20 teams that can get into the playoff, either as an at-large or either by winning their conference. You're going to have more people invested. You're going to have more fan bases invested. But now it's going to go back to 4 teams. And kind of like Major League Baseball. I don't know if you guys are baseball fans. I'm not. But one thing I hate about Major League Baseball is, after 1/8 of the season, whether your team has a shot to make the play, they've either been eliminated or they have no shot. It's the same way. Look, a 12-team playoff doesn't mean Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma. The usual suspects aren't going to be Georgia, are not going to be in the Final Four, but you're going to have some different teams that get in the mix. Maybe somebody can pull off an upset. The bottom line, I just think it's better for college football when you have more programs engaged that have a chance to get in the playoff. Because right now, there's with James Madison making the move, there's 131 teams that play FBS football. That number is going to go up when we have a couple of FCS teams make the move to Conference USA. So basically, you're almost 1%, 2% of teams can go to the playoff. It's the smallest percentage in any sport by a large number, and I don't think that's good for college football.
Brett, we love this silly sport. There's no doubt. But this news, you didn't make me feel any better about it, man. But we appreciate the time, man. It's always fun catching up, and congratulations on your Cowboys' successful season. It hurt me to say that, but congratulations.
You know what? Thank you, but 17 plays inside the 10-yard line and 1 touchdown. And I really believe, and I'm not, people believe it or not, I'm not being a homer. I really think if Oklahoma State wins that game, they get in the playoffs. I'm talking about Baylor. Because probably of the disparity of the wins versus ranked teams, the tougher schedule, all that stuff. That's what made. And you know what? People have said, well, how would you have felt if Oklahoma State won that game and didn't get in the playoff? I said I would have felt a hell of a lot better than them losing the game and not getting in the playoffs. But yeah, it was a nice ending. come back in the Fiesta Bowl. It's fun to hear OU fans say, wait till next year. Doesn't happen often, but I love hearing that. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
I'm sure you do, man. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Enjoyed it.
Well, Brett did not make me feel any better about the college football playoff not expanding. I'm still confused. I still don't understand.
Yeah, not even after the current contract is up, doesn't feel better about it then either, right? So no one knows how to feel right now, I think, is what we learned.
Yeah, so when you think about it, what does it really mean for OU? Right? I mean, that's our big concern. Is it really that big of a deal? Right? Because clearly OU and Texas going to the SEC, I think this is what derailed expansion. Right? I don't know if people just felt so deceived that like they still can't get over it. I don't know. I thought $450 million would be enough money for them to get over it. I was wrong, but the Big 12 grant of rights is up in June of 2025. So OU is going to be in the SEC at the very latest in the 2025 season. So with the CFP deal ending after the 2025 season, I guess if you look at, I don't know if worst case scenario is the best way to put it, but that would be one season without an expanded playoff where OU would be playing in the Southeastern Conference. So now maybe OU tries to get there sooner than that, but I don't know. The way I'm looking at it is I don't know if that's the most likely scenario, but it's not that bad. You know, the one season in the SEC without an expanded playoff. Sure. Fine.
Right. Well, I think a expanded playoff would be more interesting for the sport, draw more people into the sport, obviously make more money for the sport. But the impact on OU, nothing. You're still trying to win every single game you play, right? Monetarily, that seems like there'd be a pretty nice boost there, but does it boost you any more than it does anyone else? I'm not necessarily sure how that would work out. So I would say in at least the short term, like right now, it means nothing. But we'll see what happens, as this thing really plays out over time, and we do, in fact, make that move to the SEC. We may be begging for a 12-team playoff at some point, or we may just be saying 4 is fine. I don't know.
All right. $450 million. What are they doing?
That's what I'm saying. Nobody, not even athletic directors and conference commissioners and university presidents leave $500 million on the table. I refuse to believe that that's going to happen.
But then you have to remember this. Kevin Warren, like the Big Ten, they voted against it. And the same day, Kevin Warren came out and says that the Big Ten wants expansion right after he voted against it. So logic, I don't know. I don't even know what to think anymore, man.
Crazy.
I thought money ruled everything, but apparently OU and Texas going to the SEC, it's just still got people real mad. I don't know. I don't get it. Let's finish up with our winners and losers of the weekend. But first,
concussions are a part of football. They don't have to be a part of your pool party. Nip the slip with Soft Rock's rubber safety surfacing and spend more time enjoying your outdoor parties and less time worrying about a slip and fall on your pool deck. Soft Rock of OKC specializes in customized slip-resistant decorative rubber surfacing for your pool decks, patios, walkways, and gym floors. Local business owners Heidi and Cody Clark at Soft Rock of OKC are ready to help you prevent that next slip. Visit softrock.com/OKC. That's SOFTROC.com/OKC for more information. The Clarks also own the Driveway Company. The Driveway Company has tailored solutions to eliminate all of your driveway problems. They can repair cracks, clean and seal your rotting grass-filled joints to prevent water damage, ultimately saving you thousands of dollars in future repairs. Visit thedrivewaycompany.com/OKC for all of your driveway repair needs. Learn more about Soft Rock and the Driveway Company by visiting their Facebook and Instagram pages or by calling 405-294-9834.
make sure you send your kids to Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School. Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School has a long tradition of educational excellence. With a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio, no student is overlooked. Bishop McGinnis's college prep curriculum offers 22 AP courses. There are numerous clubs and organizations for students to join, and as a proud member of the OSSAA, there are 14 sports offered. If you want to provide the best possible educational and spiritual development for your children, contact Bishop McGinnis Catholic High School or visit bmchs.org. Remember, financial aid is available. As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Winner of the weekend is OU softball. Unbelievable the run that this team is going on. We've got Jocelyn Alo is now tied with Lauren Chamberlain, all-time NCAA home runs.
Can I butt in real quick?
Yeah.
We have been in contact with Jocelyn Alo's people about a possible appearance on this here podcast sometime next week after she breaks the record. Just saying. The texts have been exchanged. Just saying.
Wow.
So, this is perfect. Tweet. This is starting to work really well. Tweet Jocelyn Alo and make sure she knows how much you guys want her on here. That has become a very good strategy for us.
Load her timeline. Here's just some quick numbers for the OU softball team. They're 10-0. All right. They've won 8 games by run rule, 6 of them in a row. They've scored 95 runs in their 10 games. They've given up a total of 2 runs, neither one of them earned, 25 home runs hit, 87 strikeouts thrown. Unbelievable stuff. And there's plenty other statistics to go with that, but just unbelievable what this softball team is doing. This could be the team for the ages.
That is, and we talked about the collective stuff earlier, whatever you want to call it, helping your alma mater, whatever you want to call it. Bet you softball would be we probably focus on football, but I think softball right now,
yes,
there's some NIL money to be made for those young ladies. Is this team, we'll have to get Coach Gasso on to talk about it, this has to be her best team she's ever had. And I know they haven't won a national championship yet, maybe getting a little ahead of myself, but my goodness, just ridiculous roster.
It is. It's so ridiculous that some of the players that can't make it on the field are just, they're unreal. The rotation, the pitching rotation it's the best in the country. I can't wait to see what Jordy Ball does by the time she's done. As a young, true freshman, just mowing down the competition. Obviously, Jocelyn Alo, who knows what she ends up. She's tied with Chamberlain right now. There was a thought that maybe there was going to be a little pressure around that number. Not so much. It's fun to watch, man. It really is.
Yeah, it is. First of all, whoever's running OU softballs, whoever's running their social media account is doing a phenomenal job. Their Twitter it's fantastic. All the graphics and everything. The only thing, the angle on the view of Jocelyn Alo tying the home run record, we got to have a better camera angle, guys. Come on. What are we doing?
Are you talking about the one from behind home plate?
Yes.
Are you the one that looks like a fan shot it with their cell phone?
Yes. Yes, that's the exact one I'm talking about. I was so pumped to see it, but then I was like, wait, what are we doing? Can we get some elevation on the angle?
I think they wanted to capture the celebration at home plate.
Oh, the celebration was sick.
I don't feel like I'm alone, but I'm more interested in calculating the distance of how far her home runs go.
Maybe that's why I was like, what is this angle? I wanted to see how far the ball went. That's like my favorite part of watching her hit bombs. It's just like, oh my God, look at where that landed.
She hit one the other night. I don't know who it was against, but she blasted it, and the camera was out in center field, and it couldn't follow it, so it just like turned to left field, and you just saw over the very top corner of the screen a ball went, and it was like another entire field would have gone over another fence. It's crazy. It's awesome. She's fun, man.
Yeah. So hopefully we get to interview her. That's the plan.
Yep.
Plans in the works. All right. Who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
I don't want to be viewed as an OU men's hoops hater, but I've got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hate to keep doing it, but OU men's hoops is the loser of the weekend. Is there any way around it?
Let it. People are starting to point out that you repeatedly make OU men's hoops the loser of the weekend. The problem is they kind of bring it on themselves because they keep losing.
I know. I saw a couple of people comment almost as if they were cheering for OU to lose, so I would make them the loser of the week.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that sense too, which makes me feel bad. I do feel bad. I will say this. No Elijah Harkless. I think he's been the best player for that team. The most consistent guy in my mind. Now, is he perfect? No. Does he turn it over too much? Yes. Could he shoot it better? Yes. But I just love the intensity and the effort the guy plays with. And him and Jalen Hill are my two favorite players on that team. And him being out for the year like that, them finding that out, like a day or two before that game, and then having to go to Hilton. And let's be real, you look at the end of that game, it felt like OU was coming back, and then it was like Iowa State was the 2017 Golden State Warriors, man.
Yeah.
They just couldn't miss. It was like an avalanche. I was like, wait, what the hell happened? And they end up losing by 21, but you only score 54 points. I mean, that's just not going to get it done most nights. It's just not.
No,
whatever.
It's not. And I did see that Lenardi put out at least a preview for his latest bracketology. I don't know if the full thing dropped, but OU is now, they've moved from the last four in to now the first four out.
Correct.
So they are trending in the wrong direction. Can they still win out in the regular season and make it?
Okay. You know me. I love to be very positive at times, but I feel like something you and I do a very good job of is being realistic. They are going to get smoked on Tuesday night in Lubbock.
Yeah.
That is a really good basketball team. I mean, a really good basketball team, and Mark Adams' group. I mean, they just went to Austin and won, and the whole ticket situation. Incredible work, Texas Tech fans. I'm very proud of you. But Tech may be the best team in the Big 12. They may be playing better than Kansas and Baylor right now. And going to United Supermarkets Arena Tuesday night, that doesn't feel like one where OU's going to get back on the right track.
No, and Tech is trending in the right direction as well. Beat Baylor, won at Texas. Frankly, the last team to beat Tech in a long time is when OU handed them their asses here at the LNC. My guess is it's going to be a little different basketball game down there in Lubbock, Texas. But, especially with Harkless being out, it's going to be tough. It's way more difficult on the road, but I don't know.
If they can keep that one close on Tuesday night, they're capable of winning their last three, right? You've got Bedlam and Norman.
They
West
better
Virginia
win their
and Norman.
last three.
They have to win them, right? If they want any chance, yeah.
Well, they needed to win. They needed to beat Iowa State.
Yeah.
Really bad. really, really bad. And it's just going to be really difficult. You know, I still believe that the way that this team plays, how good they defend, if they could just make it to the tournament, I think they would do well in the tournament. But playing against the same teams over and over in the Big 12 that have scouted the heck out of you all season, they know what you're going to do. I think it's just it's going to be hard in this conference until you get the players. But I don't know. I'm still holding out hope that they make the tournament, but losing that game to a not very good Iowa State team is going to set you back big time.
Iowa State, not great, but Isaiah Brockington, I like watching that guy play. Man, I've watched a lot of Big 12 basketball this year. He's first team all Big 12 in my book. Like he just gets buckets. I just love watching the guy play. And it's interesting that you're expressing so much hope for the tournament, Ted, when you are now considered OU basketball's number one hater. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. If you are a whiskey or bourbon drinker, stop what you're doing. Head to your favorite liquor store and buy some Balcones products. You got to grab some of Balcones Lineage Single Malt Whiskey. It was just voted one of the top 20 whiskeys in the world by Whiskey Advocate, and you'll be shocked by how affordable it is. You also got to snag some of Balcones Baby Blue Corn Whiskey.
It's made from blue corn. That's the fancy corn.
And that's why it has won more than 25 awards. Last but certainly not least, you got to buy some of Balcones Pot Still Bourbon. Its big flavors make it the perfect bourbon to drink year-round. In 2012, Balcones Single Malt won the Best in Glass competition, beating brands like Johnnie Walker and Macallan, became the first American distillery to win that competition. This stuff is the real deal, people. If you love great whiskey and bourbon at a great price, then Balcones products are the only way to go. The whiskey may be made in Texas, but the owners, yes, they're from Oklahoma. To find a liquor store that has it, visit balconesdistilling.com. I feel like we're really getting to the ad reads, and if people are skipping them, I mean, we're having fun. I know I'm having fun.
It's probably the best content that we have is the ad reads.
I bet you there are some people that hate listen to this podcast that agree with that.
Yes.
All right. For my winner of the weekend, thought about going with elite draft prospects, NFL draft prospects that really don't want to do drills at the NFL Combine. Because did you see this?
Well, I saw that they were going to have the strict bubble, but I didn't see exactly what all it entailed.
Yeah, it's just like you can have one person that can help you. They got to clear all this stuff like it did. And there's pretty much a general consensus from a lot of people that normally go to the NFL Combine that it's really unorganized right now, which is weird.
I know. I saw something right before we came on air, I guess. Was it Schefter that said that there's representatives from 150 of the guys that have been invited that are going to boycott it if they don't change that's crazy.
Yeah. All like the agents and stuff are like, what do you, I don't know, but basically the NFL announced some pretty strict bubble guidelines for the NFL Combine. And if you're one of those elite guys and you're looking for a reason maybe not to do anything, you are the winner of the weekend because you have found your out.
I'll see you at Pro Day. You guys just come here for Pro Day, right? Yeah, which, you know, I think that there was probably a time whenever, like, you couldn't get good, you know, numbers that you trusted on a guy, right? I think it's way easier to get legitimate numbers now than at pro days than you used to be able to. So there may be a sense of maybe we don't need it as much, but I don't know. It's good. It's good stuff on NFL Network, and it probably makes it.
What is the NFL doing? They are messing with one of their money-making products.
Yep. Something that they're going to do anyways. Just throw a couple of guys talking over the video of it, and you're going to sell a ton of ads.
I don't know. All right, but also thought about going with Sam Presti. Did you see what LeBron said about him? I mean, you talk about something that makes you feel good. If you didn't see it, LeBron James was doing his press conference at NBA All-Star Weekend, and he was like, Sam Presti is the MVP over there and was just complimenting Presti's eye for talent. And man, you can think whatever you want about LeBron James, but I feel like everyone respects his basketball opinions because I mean, when you ask like the high level basketball guys, they'll pretty much tell you LeBron's kind of like a basketball genius. And I'm sure Sam Presti heard that and was like, thank you. Thank you. I feel fantastic. And I know this. It made me feel better about having Sam Presti as the GM of the Thunder. I was like, yes, you're right, LeBron. He's the best. Good point.
It sounds to me like LeBron wants to go play in Oklahoma City where he knows a GM's going to be drafting good talent to put around him. And he doesn't have to build a team through free agency every year. Is that what it sounds like to you?
It sounds like he'd be very interested in going somewhere that maybe has a ton of draft picks in the future that may be able to use one of those draft picks on his son and then lure him to play with said son. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one season of Twilight LeBron in OKC. Oh my, that would be the best thing ever. I would lose it.
Which, how far away is his son?
I think
one more year.
Yeah, is he a junior right now? I'm not going to pretend I know how old Bronny James is. I probably should.
I know it's getting close though.
I mean this with all due respect. Is he like that good to where he'll be in the NBA really soon?
I think he'll go directly to the NBA on pedigree alone,
just marketability.
Yeah. But I honestly don't know how good he is.
Yeah. I think I think the team he's on is really good, but if my memory serves me correctly, I don't think he's even the best player on his team. I'm not going to pretend I know. I'm not big into the high school basketball scene currently.
Me neither.
But my winner of the weekend, the NBA All-Star 3-point contest. Ted, I think it's official. The 3-point contest has surpassed the dunk contest because watching Karl Anthony Towns, all 7 foot of him, stroke it from distance and just get in that rhythm and win that thing as a big man. Like, now I was bummed that Trae Young didn't win. I want to make that. And by the way, Trae Young got his jersey retired at Norman North. That was awesome.
Yep.
So cool. But watching Karl Anthony Towns do that was exponentially more entertaining than what happened in that dunk contest. And I feel like, every dunk's been done. I understand that. But Cole Anthony, he puts the Timberlands on and like, that was cool. I was like, oh, that's a little different. But it took him forever to dunk the basketball. And then I was so excited to see Jalen Green because I know about like the type of bounce he's got.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up taking him like a full 10 minutes to dunk the damn ball. Obi Toppin ended up winning. Congrats to Obi Toppin.
Who's that?
Obi Toppin, he plays for the Knicks.
Well, I mean, that's been the problem with the dunk contest for quite some time. I don't know exactly when it was, but like winning the dunk contest used to be like the rite of passage, right? If you ever wanted to be compared to Jordan, you had to go win a dunk contest, right? And that has all changed. I feel like there's too much on the line for these guys should they not win it. So they don't enter it. And, you're left with down roster guys that still can do some incredible things, but people would rather see the stars compete against each other and do like, even if the dunks are less spectacular, they want the big names competing against one another. Right. And that just hasn't happened in a long time.
It has not. So I used to love the dunk contest. I was convinced that I was the next Vince Carter. I promise you, young me thought I was going to be the next Vince Carter, but it just, is it time to make the switch? Is it time to have the 3-point contest finish the night? Like, cause I love NBA All-Star Weekend. I think they do a great job, adjusting some things, getting creative. I like the skills challenge and kind of the tweaks they made to that. Like it was really entertaining. It was fun seeing Giddey out there. And by the way, Giddey is better than Cade Cunningham. Look up the stats, look up the advanced stats. It's right in front of you, people. They don't lie. The numbers don't lie. They don't lie. But I don't know. Like the dunk contest is supposed to go last, but man, it just
Here's the reason.
doesn't feel like the headliner anymore.
Well, there's too much stoppage in the action. The 3-point contest is great because it's nonstop, right? There's not props and waiting for a guy to tie his shoes or go pull someone from the stands and wait, I need 2 more guys. Well, no, back up a little bit. Actually, give me 1 more person. No, you're too tall. Let's go look for someone else. Like all that crap's going on. It's nonstop with the 3-point contest, and that's what people want, man. Our attention or our attention span is shorter than it's ever been. You got to keep it rolling. I would almost like it if they did the dunk contest like during the All-Star game somehow, like during commercial timeouts or something where they kept the action rolling through. But I don't know. It's something that they've tried a bunch of different formats to make it better, and it's just really difficult, man. It is.
We're recording this during the All-Star game. I'm sure Ja Morant has had 2 or 3 dunks in that game that would have won the dunk contest.
They should have awarded him the dunk contest champion whenever he pinned that ball on the glass with 2 hands.
It was amazing.
Took it like above the square.
That video of him just ripping tequila shots on the way to the All-Star game on the plane, that was amazing. I loved it. It was like, that's what you should be doing. Making the All-Star game. I guess people had a problem with that. Why?
I don't know. Did you see the meme of said like everyone wants Zion and Morant in the dunk contest, and then it shows them like Morant's doing the tequila and Zion sitting there playing video games. Yeah, that's kind of, but that's to the point is I don't even know when the last time we had a superstar in the dunk contest. Dwight Howard, maybe? I don't know.
Zach LaVine, he's not a superstar, but he was an awesome dunk contest guy, and they messed that whole thing up.
That dunk contest was the last great dunk contest.
Yeah.
Him and the kid that used to be at Orlando, just unbelievable. It was great.
Yeah. Gordon, Aaron Gordon, nailed it.
Yep.
I was like, it's going to come to me. It's going to come to me. But there we go. Did it. Okay. Loser of the weekend. You talk about a divisive issue. Juwan Howard. One, it seems like there's some polar opposites. Now, most people are probably in the middle, right? Maybe this is like politics, but there's a group of people that maybe think he should be in prison for assault and battery. And then there's a group of people that think he did nothing wrong at all. I think the truth lies somewhere in between those 2 poles. So no doubt you can't be mushing. And by the way, he didn't punch anyone. Stop saying he threw a punch. He did. It was an open hand mush. There is a difference, a very big difference. So you can't be mushing coaches' faces in the handshake line. Can't be doing that. Nope. You got to get suspended and fined for that. I do not think he should be fired. And I can't believe so many people think he should be fired for it. Like it blows my mind that some people are like, you can't set that example for young people. It's like, okay, what about forgiveness? What about making mistakes? That's also setting an example for young people. He made a bad mistake. Don't have to fire the guy, but if
there's
you didn't
no better
see this,
example or teaching moment than showing someone what not to do, right? That's probably the easiest way to learn.
Yeah. But if you didn't see this, Wisconsin, they beat Michigan in basketball. And Wisconsin's coach, Greg Gard, he called timeout late in the game. He had a bunch of subs in. Badgers had a comfortable lead. Game was already over. But he was getting and Michigan was actually still pressing in the game. But
that's the key right there.
Yeah, the 10-second count, it actually resets. So in the backcourt, the 10-second, if you call timeout, that actually resets. And that's a rule that maybe some people have hinted that maybe Juwan Howard didn't know the rule. But that's what Greg Gard did. And he explained it after the game. He was like, I had some backups in. I didn't want to put them in that situation. We only had 4 seconds to get the ball across. So I called timeout. They were pressing. And Juwan Howard did not like it. And first of all, Juwan Howard was a little late getting into the handshake line. And then he tried to hit Greg Gard with the blow by. And basically the blow by, and like, I'll remember that. And I think Greg Gard thought he could like de-escalate the situation by grabbing Juwan Howard and explaining why he called the timeout. But grabbing him was not a good idea. Putting your hands on another man, especially another man that's a lot bigger than you, not a great idea. And I watched this whole thing unfold. And in the situation, I think I would have reacted the way that Greg Gard did to Juwan Howard trying to blow by him, because like, hey, my team just whooped your team's ass. You're going to show me some respect, you know? But then I also was like, I'm pretty sure I would have reacted the same way Juwan Howard did when Greg Gard put his hands on him. Like, hey, man, don't touch me. What are you doing? And he hit him with pointed his finger in his face.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh boy. But to Greg Gard's credit, I guess a little bit, he got the finger point in the face and he didn't completely lose it, which some guys, that's straight up disrespectful. Like the poke in the chest and the finger point, like right to the face. Maybe you press the forehead in between the eyes a little bit. Those are fighting actions. Like, let's just be real. But
didn't he also like grab his shirt?
He had a hold of, like he grabbed, I think he wanted to explain himself, but he went about it all wrong. So I just, like, you don't need to touch him that way. You don't need to blow by him if you're Juwan Howard. Like, you gotta be a little more professional than that. I don't think it's that big of a deal, though. There's people like, he should be in jail. He should get fired. You can't have someone running your program that does something like this. It's like, it was just another basketball fight where nothing happened. That's what I was thinking the whole time, is like, oh, basketball guys, only thing that's happened is the shoes are squeaking. That's it. No one's getting punched. No one's like, just squeaking shoes. That's all you hear in basketball fights. It was a mush. Suspend him, fine him. I just don't understand all the people that want him fired. I don't get it. What am I missing?
You're not missing anything.
Oh, thank God.
People that want him fired are people that have no affiliation with Michigan and their basketball team.
Bunch of OU people, though, tell me like, hey, no, unacceptable. Fire him. It's like, if Porter Moser did, and listen, I don't think Porter Moser would ever do that, but if he did it, I wouldn't want him fired. I'd be like, probably shouldn't mush that guy. Not great. Suspend him, fine him, and then let's move on. It's that simple in my mind.
I agree. I don't think that's something for Michigan to handle. Like if Michigan is that embarrassed by it, take whatever actions you want. Like I think a lot of it will, like how Michigan handles it, and I guess maybe the Big Ten will have something to say about it too, but it'll tell you more about like how he is on the day-to-day within that program, right? If you've got a guy that is a stand-up guy, he's doing the right things, he's bringing his team along, and he's growing those guys individually, then okay, you just take it for what it is. Coach was heated after a game where they got beat handily, was mad about it, let his emotions spill over at the end of it, right? No big deal. No one was hurt. I mean, a couple of players ended up throwing punches with one another, but no one's hurt. No one cares. Kids aren't going to watch that and all of a sudden think it's okay to go out and get in a fight in a basketball game. The world is not going to fall apart. It's not a problem at all. Kids used to watch the NBA guys throw hands on a nightly basis, okay? And it didn't ruin, little league or high school or whatever different level of basketball there was. So spare me with the overblown, he needs to be fired or whatever. It's just ridiculous. Here's the thing. All I would say is he handled the whole thing horrible. Juwan Howard did. And I'd also like to see what happened after the timeout. Like when guard called the timeout, was Juwan Howard like flailing and throwing a bunch of antics over there that he called the timeout, which maybe maybe why guard was like, wanting to have a conversation with him there anyways. But I think it's stupid. You're right. It's another basketball fight where nothing actually happens. Everyone just holds one another back.
Yeah. I don't think it was as serious as so many people are making it sound. Like it's not like, now I will say some people are saying that the assistant that came in was the guy that got mushed, by the way, unfazed by the mushing. It took the mushing like a champion, but that he escalated things. It's like people are trying to make it sound like these kids
pick that guy out that escalated everything. There was 100 people running in there.
I don't know, but there are a lot of people with strong opinions after this thing, and it's not that serious to me. Like I've seen coaches on football staffs fight each other way worse than that.
Yeah.
Like, and some would say, well, it's in practice or it's behind closed door. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just not that big enough. I'm kind of leaning towards, maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I'm starting to lean towards like, why are some people so soft? I think I'm aging. I'm getting, oh gosh.
I still totally believe that, and this goes for baseball, this goes for football, this goes for basketball. Punish the people that rush over to keep others from fighting. That's always what escalates it. Every single time when both benches flood over there and everyone starts holding one another back, that's whenever everything just escalates because you've got a million different interactions happening. Those are the people that need to be punished. If those people stop running over there to break things up, almost never will you see a fight because no one wants to fight one-on-one. They want people to hold them back, get one punch in, and then, be ushered off to the locker room or whatever. Start fining, suspending, punishing those people. That'll put an end to it.
Take Juwan Howard, take Greg Gard, put him in the center circle of the court, let him fight for 20 seconds. This has been my theory for forever. Just let him go. Now, maybe Greg Gard, that's probably not a fair matchup. I mean, Juwan's got a bit of a reach on him, but I mean,
you never know. You never know.
It's a great point.
That's why you get in the circle to begin with, right? Because you never know.
I would just one more thing to add, and I think it was our buddy Eddie Radosevich that had the video of it. That I think it's got like millions of views. The clip of, I don't know if he was a Wisconsin assistant or if he was like a straight coach guy, but the guy that hit the Michigan bench with the crotch chop, elite content. I mean, so funny. Made my day when I saw it. I was like, what a perfect response to the situation.
Which I haven't seen that since maybe high school when I used to watch WWE or WCW. Who was it that used to do that? Was that
Triple
Diamond
H
Dallas?
Was part of it, right?
Triple H? Yeah, maybe that's right.
The suck it thing? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Remember?
Oh, that's so funny.
Oh, that's good stuff. And on that note, episode 191 in the books. We'll have a new podcast that'll drop Thursday morning. Just a reminder, you can hear Teddy from 2 to 6 on 94.7 The Ref. You can hear me from 3 to 5 on Sirius XM Big 12 Radio, channel 375. Hope you all have a great week. Until next time, we appreciate y'all for listening. And do what you always do, Oklahoma. Take care of each other.